Hello everyone. Have you asked yourself the question that why there are people who spend a lot of time studying but the results are very little, and there are people who spend very little amount of studying but their results are magnificent? So the answer is based on two rules. The rule number one, it's called the Pareto principle. Pareto principle says that 80% of the results comes from 20% of the efforts, because there are things that are very important and there are things that are not important at all in these some of the exams. So the people who focus on the important things, they will finish in a very short amount of time. I'll give you an example. For example, if you have really good medical knowledge but you didn't train yourself for the stamina to sit for 9 hours in the exam, you're not going to get the great results, even if you studied like for 3 years. So this is just an example. Or if you didn't train yourself on how to read the questions, okay? So we will talk about that, how to read the questions, how to train yourself on the stamina, how to organize your time, okay? So this is the rule number one. Rule number two is called the magic of imminent deadline. So imagine if you have one chapter and you put a week for that chapter, you will finish it in 1 week. But if you put 2 days in that chapter, you will finish it in 2 days. So always have a deadline, and the more that you put the pressure yourself and put closer deadline, the more that you're going to work harder. Because if you put 1 week for that chapter, you're going to spend the first 5 days not doing anything, and the last 2 days, that way you do the maximum work. So why is that? Just give yourself very short amount of time, and then if you didn't finish it, then you can give yourself an extension. Okay, so these two rules, Pareto principle, the important things, and Parkinson law, which is giving yourself a deadline. So what I used to do with the Pareto principle is that I made a lot of mistakes. I wasted a lot of time. Sometimes I spend 10 hours in the library and my productivity is just 1 hour. So this is, I learned it after so many mistakes. So the Pareto principle, this is what I did. For example, the most important thing, you gotta know how to read the clinical scenario in the exam. So when you see someone, the clinical scenario is usually very long, and the exam you don't have time to read the whole thing. So what I want you to do is that focusing on the physical exam more important. Read the age, chief complaint, go to the physical exam, and then go to the differential diagnosis. If you got the answer, then that's it. If you didn't get the answer, then go and read the case more. Okay, so always about your differentials, and there are questions there are sentences that gonna lead you to that diagnosis right away. We will talk about it in a little bit. And the Parkinson law, what I used to do is that I put 50 minutes for myself that I shouldn't move. I go to the library, 50 minutes, don't do anything, and then at the end of 50 minutes I take a 10-minute break or 20 minutes or however you need. But when you have this 50 minutes, you should never have it interrupted. And put your phone silent, or if you turn it off. Like studies shown that if you put your phone silent, you increase your concentration by 30%. If you turn it off, you increase concentration by 70%. Okay, so this is not, you don't have to do that, but this is good to know. I did that actually and helped me a lot for my focus. Okay, so this is the two rules that I'm going to focus on. So in this course, what I'm going to do, so I had the whole questions, I organized them. I always wondered if there is someone who go through, there's 3,000 questions. Like for example, some of the step 2 CK exam, there's 3,000 questions. And sometimes you read as you go, you progress through reading these questions, you forget the one that you read the first time. So I always ask myself, I wish there was someone who just explained the key points of each question. That would have made my life so much easier. But unfortunately nobody did, so I did it. When I was studying for my step 3, I was tutoring medical students, and I had to review CK because CK was very important for step 3 too. So this for anyone who wanted to study for step 2 CK and step 3. So what I did in that time, I went over all the step 2 CK and tried to summarize the key points for each question and how it differentiated from the other differential diagnosis. Okay, so this is what I did, and luckily it showed great results. Like one of my students, she did more than 250 on CK. That was amazing. Okay, so here, for example, if you have a circular area of hair loss, okay, this is alopecia 100%. You just pick that and move on. Okay, so these are one of the rules. The other one, if you have well demarcated erythema, it's most likely erysipelas. Okay, so this is the erysipelas, well demarcated erythema. Usually that's how it presents. Another example, for example, you find someone with a cough and a fever. Everybody has cough and a fever, but not everyone has dullness to percussion, which indicate pneumonia. Not everyone has absent breath sounds, which indicate pneumothorax. There's an air, like in the lung. There's no lung tissue. So these are the things that I'm going to focus on this course. Okay, I'm going to go to every single question and just highlight the high yield things that you should remember, and it's in the form of questions. So I'll ask questions and my students like answer that. So you can, the way you can do it, like you see you hear my question, and then you pause, you think about what's the answer, and then you continue to see what's the answer. Okay, so this is a good way to test yourself and a good way to make it as a rapid review. Okay, I'll put a lot of videos for free, so you can just check them out for trial. If you like them, you're more than welcome to join the course. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you inside the course.